First of all, I'm really, really excited to be here. I think 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined that there'd be this many entrepreneurs and startups in Gujarat. So I'm hoping this is just the start of something very, very big. I'm going to spend some time trying to give you a perspective on what's going on in technology, how that creates new ideas and opportunities for you, and then how you can possibly take that to become a business. So that's what I'll try and focus on right now. You can still hear me, right, back there? Yes? Okay, good. About 20, 25 years ago, an incredible wave came about in India in terms of growth driven by one screen, just a personal computer screen. And about 10 years after that, or 15 years after that, that mobile phone came on and another revolution began. And it's just these 3 screens, if you think about it, that created billions and billions of dollars worth of revenue, created entire new industries over the last generation, pretty much. The most incredible thing going on right now is that those 3 screens are just a tiny fraction of what the new world of technology looks like. If those 3 could create industries and change the way people live their lives, imagine what the hundreds of others that are now coming about can do. We call this new world a world of the intelligent edge and the intelligent cloud. It's a whole new paradigm of technology that's going to create more opportunity than anything we've seen before. This intelligent edge is different. It is completely free of attachment to desktops, even power sources now. You can talk to it, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can make gestures and it can read what you're doing. You can write on it. You can actually use nothing and it allows you to sense things like moisture in the ground or fly in the air with drones. There's so much tech out there right now. And behind it is this incredible utility called the cloud. An immense, powerful computing capacity that you can just plug into and actually tap into things that would have cost millions, if not billions of dollars to attach to in the last few years. Now, this edge and this cloud is real and it's driven by fundamental economic changes. Technology waves come and go. People think, hey, is this the next one or is it not the next one? But one technology trend that always sticks is when you change the economics, the costs of adopting technology, new solutions come up like never before. And it's been amazingly profound, the types of changes that have happened in the last few years. In less than 10 years, the cost of these tech has dropped by sometimes tenfold, down by 90%, sometimes 99%. A drone is 1% of the cost it was 10 years ago. 3D printers, 1% of the cost it was 3 years. Sensors, 0.3% of the costs they were 10 years ago. Now, when you change the costs of technology, imagine what you can do with it. All of those ROI calculations that prevented things being used, all of a sudden become feasible because you've cut the cost by 90% or 99% in some of these cases. Now, here is where it becomes really important for Gujarat. The last generation of technology fundamentally helped people do things and create products and create software and create solutions for what was predominantly the desk-based worker. People sitting in offices, processes, financials, how you manage businesses. And the most interesting thing is that that part of the economy was only 10 to 20% of the world's GDP. 2-3 generations of growth happened only with technology playing in 10 to 20% of the world's economy. The other 60 to 70% of the world's economy is in the physical world. Manufacturing, transportation, logistics, how people work and what they do out on the streets every single day. We've had tech helping them, but it was never part of their life the way it was in an office. Gujarat plays a lot in that physical world. It's not services-based yet. It's primarily in the physical world of manufacturing, distribution, trade, and that part of the world has not been touched as much by technology, but now it's possible with that intelligent edge and that intelligent cloud. So think about this space. If we thought we saw IT do amazing things, that was nothing compared to what we're about to see now. So I'm going to talk about a few of these technology elements so that you understand what's out there and can figure out how to use it as a tool to create new things. The first and most important one is the cloud. And I want you to really internalize and understand this one a little. If you think about it, we used to think about the platform on which we develop as the screen and maybe a server somewhere, and we would build on it. And we would do things that could work on that screen and on that platform. That was our playground. That was the space in which we played. Today, without a doubt, the entire world is fundamentally a computer. The cloud are these gigantic computing resources spread across the world, from the northern parts of America to 3 in India, across Asia. These are massive computing utilities like never before seen. It's like taking generators that used to sit in your home to power electricity and creating a big power grid that you can just tap into and plug into a wall socket. This cloud has been built over the last 3 or 4 years and is pervasive all around the world. Now this cloud, which a startup can plug into and start using, sometimes for free and with marginal cost on per use basis, was not available 3 or 4 years ago. If someone wanted to use some of the technologies that were available in the cloud, you'd literally have to raise millions of dollars and take years to build out that capacity. And today you can literally click on 2 buttons and get access to exactly that same capability. And this cloud has gone even further. In the last 1 year, we've actually taken and created devices that can sit locally to deal with data sovereignty issues, taking it all the way to the edge into IoT sensors that sit in the ground or sit on light, and one single computing fabric has been created from the edge of billions of nodes to powerful, powerful supercomputing in the back end. This fabric is your new playground. You don't play on a PC or a server. You play on this entire fabric of computing that's been laid out across the world. It's in the air, literally. I can click on 2 buttons of Azure and start tapping into artificial intelligence, literally, without doing anything other than touching my mobile phone. Okay? Now, this cloud is powered by services. Like I said, we've got about 200 services in Microsoft, thousands of others that people have built, and tens of thousands more in development. When someone wants to do something, they literally click a button, it's provisioned, you start paying for it. You only pay for it as you use it. So you can start up. If you're successful, you pay more. If things are slow, you don't have this massive cost sitting over your head. There will be thousands, tens of thousands of such services coming up in the next few years. Now, when you have a cloud this vast and an edge that I talked about, the next new commodity in this world is data. It is literally like the oil of this next generation. It is coming from everywhere. Now look at some of this data. A single person is expected to generate about 1.5 gigabytes of data per day. You know those things you carry in your pocket, the phone, GPS information, the Fitbits you're carrying about what your health status is? You are generating 1.5 gigabytes of data per day, and some of this is going up into that cloud. Take a car. This one's fascinating. A single car, autonomous vehicles, we think it's not going to happen in India. It's coming. At least intelligent cars are coming. 5 terabytes of data per day. Per car. This is about road conditions, where they are, what the engine's doing, what's going on in the car, the entertainment that's coming up in that car, the voice signals that are going from that car out. That single car is a 5 terabyte per day computer driving around the streets of India. One car. So tons of data from your homes to your cars to stadiums to cities to factories, all pouring in by the second into this vast cloud. Add to that information about marketplaces and transactions people are doing, Add to that what's going on in the IoT space that I talked about and what's going on in social media. And you have this immense network of information about people and things that never existed before. The problem is all of that data is tucked away in silos, sometimes in an organization, sometimes outside, sometimes available on the web, but all spread out. The next big wave of work that's been going on right now above that cloud infrastructure is how do you organize this data into a single graph of information that startups, organizations can tap into to create even more new concepts. Connecting this graph of data is something that Microsoft has been doing for the last few years with our own products, LinkedIn, GitHub. You talk about things like Office and Exchange, but we've also started plugging in what IoT is creating from other places. We announced the Open Data Initiative last week, where SAP, Adobe, and Microsoft's data is coming together so that people can tap into it in a single graph. And more data sources will come into that. So you can plug into the computer, you'll soon, and you can now, plug into the data as well. Put computing and data together, and you can start imagining what you can start creating. But with this amount of data, and this amount of devices, 20 billion things pinging away every single second in just a few years, our human capacity is insufficient to manage that. Artificial intelligence is necessary for something this vast, this complex, this global to actually work. And so artificial intelligence is now showing up, being used already in lots of different formats. Text-to-speech, voice recognition, sensory perception, sentiment analysis that you see on the web. So many functions are now fueled by artificial intelligence. And I want you to begin to understand how far we've come. We've been talking about artificial intelligence, but when you put the vast computing capability, the power of what we've talked about, and vast data sources together, you now can start seeing exponential progress in the creation of AI. Just in the last 12 to 24 months. First, 2016, computers achieved object recognition parity with humans. In other words, a computer can tell whether a cat is a cat, or a dog is a dog, or a water bottle is a water bottle, as well as a human. That was 2 years ago. Last year, speech recognition achieved human parity. A computer can understand speech, convert it into data, as well as a human being can. That was 2 years ago. This year, machine reading comprehension, handwriting, text recognition, achieved human parity. And just a few months ago, machine parity with human language translation. You can translate from one human language to another language, as well as a professional translator can. This is AI growing exponentially to allow you to do things. Now, what Microsoft's been doing is we have a very simple view. We want to democratize artificial intelligence. We want to give all the componentry of artificial intelligence, speech to text, character recognition, voice, language, as components that you can use to embed into your solutions and make them more powerful. It's not one mega intelligence that we're all familiar with. It's not a bot that sits there and talks to you. It's about all these artificial intelligence components that you can all piece together and create even better solutions than you could have before that. So we've got immense computing capacity you can plug into, vast data sources you can add to and plug into, and artificial intelligence as new componentry that you can use to make sense of that. And so you have to pull all of this together to create solutions. Solutions that were not imaginable even 1 or 2 years ago are now possible. And these solutions span every industry, every space. And I just want to give you a few examples of things that are happening right now in India using this technology. Take, for example, farmers. They would never need technology. They would never need artificial intelligence. They use it every day. A farmer who doesn't have a PhD, that doesn't have massive machinery, that doesn't understand data like weather patterns and what's going on in soil conditions, all of a sudden, is able to get on their texts in their phone, a text message that says, time to put insecticide, time to sow your seeds, time to reap your harvest. Because if you do this, your yield will go up 4 or 5%. That 4 or 5%, folks, is the difference between a farmer committing suicide because they can't afford to pay back their loans and actually continuing on and sustaining their families. AI takes data from the soil, takes data from weather patterns, mashes it all up, processes it on the cloud, sends a text message saying, this is what you need to do in your 1 acre of land today. They get the same sophistication as PhD farmers running hectares and hectares, thousands of hectares of farms. We can start giving that same intelligence to a farmer in India today. Not possible. Take, for example, what we do with Flipkart and other folks. People would not engage in e-commerce. What does that mean? I still have to travel from one shop to another in a different village to buy something. You can speak and say what you want in your native language. It translates using AI, it goes up to the cloud, it goes up to a service, and all of a sudden an order can actually be placed. These are beginning to get formed right now, and people are going to use it. E-commerce in the tier 3 cities with people who are almost illiterate. You thought this was the world of just people that were in the metros and rich a few years ago. Take another one, call centers. Call centers, easy enough. We've always sat on a desk. Put in place a chatbot now. They don't have to do call center calls down a tree of logic. Okay, that's a problem, let me try the next problem. Oh, that's a problem, let me try the next problem. By listening to you, it can understand that there's probably something here that can tap into other patterns that had formed, cross business silos, cross data sources, and pop back up a recommendation that you would not have thought. The human would never have been able to move that fast across so many data sources and so many scenarios just a year or 2 years ago. I love this one, made in India in some ways. Kaisala. This is another powerful one. Think about it. India has only, I'm guessing, a few percentage points of penetration of PC devices or laptops. They now have mobile phones for a good part of the population as well. But for entire 30 or 40 years, 95% of India's population didn't benefit from the productivity and tools that the rest of the world had. With the mobile phone, with data connection, and with tools like Kaisala, people can actually get today the same power that folks used to have sitting on Wall Street on a desktop. And the same tools in more natural language, natural user interfaces, so that they can actually use it the way they did. You've just got a market for those of you that are thinking about B2B, B2C, or ecosystems. All of a sudden, you've got 500 million more people that can actually access that information solution and technology through the phone and through tools like Kaisala. Okay? You're going to go a step further, HoloLens. I love this one. You would think HoloLens is gaming and augmented reality. I want to give you an example of a real solution to a problem in India that HoloLens is fixing right now. Milk, a single problem. You want to get milk from somewhere in India in one part to a fisherman on the boat off the coast of Maharashtra somewhere, and you have to make sure that that milk is delivered safe, sound, and processed. We have a transportation system that doesn't work. We can't move that at the right speeds. We don't have the ability to create factories in central locations that have massive scale and can use all the latest technology that other countries in the world can do. We have to create factories closer to points in source. But as soon as you do that, you have a problem. It's subscale. You don't have engineers who can manage that advanced machinery in tier 2 or tier 3 cities anymore. You hook a HoloLens to one of those machines. Someone goes in and says, hey, there's a problem. A technician, not a PhD, not an engineer, can put the HoloLens on, start looking at that machinery, and all of a sudden get signals back from someone in Germany or Europe or Japan saying, hey, do this now, do that now, go right, pull out that plug, stick that in. And we can bring engineering capacity from halfway around the world to fix a machine in real time in that tier 2 or tier 3 city. All of a sudden, we can create a whole new distribution network and a whole new infrastructure that could not have been possible a year or two ago. drones, public safety. I love this experiment someone's trying somewhere in the south right now. You want to put in place safety, security. Same problem. I can't get a police car from one part of the city to the other fast enough in a case of emergency. We don't have enough law enforcement folks. We can't build this all out. Well, as soon as someone is in danger and they press a button on their mobile phone or shout, a drone can launch, it can go, fly there, cameras turn on, sirens go off, video gets captured, lights start flashing, and it's probably enough to scare someone away if they're about to do something wrong. Possible today with that technology. I love cars, safety, right? We open our hands in the lives in the hands of people, but with just that phone sitting on a dashboard, we can actually see whether someone is falling asleep. Maybe the next cab ride shouldn't go to that one. They're not allowed to press the button to say, yes, I'll take that service because this person's been working too long and appears to be falling asleep. Take a rest for 2 hours, then we'll reactivate that button for you to come in and take something. We can do this again with a camera on the phone and artificial intelligence on the edge, processing it and taking it back. I love this one. This one's fresh off the press just yesterday, less than 10, 12 hours ago. I had the joy of working with Anil Kumble to announce Spectracom. And this is a fun one, cricket. There's a sensor in that sticker that can tell your bat speed, where you struck it relative to the sweet spot, and whether your bat twisted or not. And the AI can then predict what the distance is as you hit it. So the next time you watch TV soon, you'll be able to see things like the power score. You'll be able to see as they're hitting the ball, where might it go? Was that a good shot, a bad shot, a speed bait shot? It'll change the way we engage and the way people can get coached and learn. Kids can put this little thing and use their mobile sensor, their mobile phone, and see whether their shots are twisting left or right, and they would never have been able to see this because they'll never have a coach in the past. This is data coming from a cricket bat in real time to an edge device, to the cloud, AI processing it, and then distributing it to anyone in the world, all within a second or less. You can plug into that. By the way, you can build things like this less than 8 months. I think the team's 5 or 6 people big. Okay? But then you can also save lives and do things that are more than just fun. This is another one that I love that's already live. Our intelligent cloud, intelligent edge, all put together. We have a problem of not having enough doctors and physicians to treat 1 billion people. There's nothing we're going to do in the next 1 year, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and maybe 2 generations to change that equation. But we can't let people suffer because of that. And take, for example, this. In India, we have a high incidence of eye disease because of diabetes. I bet you that's probably higher in Gujarat than even other places, right? But if you send a field rep to a village, they put this device on. And because of the AI that's built into the edge device, it can do a better job of saying, you know what, you have a problem that should go to a doctor, or this is a problem that need not be there. It's critical, it's not critical. And then an alert can go immediately that you have to send to the doctor or do not send to the doctor. Now, when you've done that, you've immediately enhanced the capacity of that doctor that's sitting in the tier 1 or tier 2 city. They're not getting people coming in that don't need it. It's being queued up in the right sequence, right? And they are not spending time on the road trying to get to that village. And you can imagine we can take that one doctor and allow them to do things of 2 or 3 or 4 instead. And so we solve a fundamental health problem with intelligent edge, intelligent cloud. Everything I've shown you is there today in India, being developed by people only in the last 12 to 24 months. And so imagine what you all can do. I want you to think about the PC and put it away, about servers and put it away, and data centers and put it away, and think about the world as a computer. You will see connections in the air, in the fiber, around the world, connecting offices, farms have sensors in the ground, drones flying in the air. You have retailers where tags are telling you what the price is and who's walking where, and whether someone is smiling when they see a product or frowning when they see it. You have medical professions where when a doctor can't use their hand and use a PC, they can use Hololens and talk to understand how to perform the next step in surgery. You have stadiums, like I just described, connected up so that people can have entertainment and get more information than ever before. You have oil rigs and manufacturing things in distant locations connected up to networks, each one of them with an IoT sensor giving you back more and more feedback. And you have banks, ATMs, cars that are driving around, right? Each one's pouring out what that's terabytes of data and signals coming in from physical infrastructure, lights, cameras, sensors, all coming in. The question is, what do you do with that? Right? If I had that playground 30 years ago when I started, I can't imagine. It's like just amazing the opportunities you have. So your imagination now has to let loose with the technology that's available. Now in this world, a new paradigm has formed. It's not about using IT and kind of like being aware of IT and figuring out how to use it in a little bit of your work. It's a world of intense technology, tech intensity. It's about how much we create and how much it's used as fast as possible. Especially here, the startups, your job is to take the raw tech, convert it into the type of solutions that I just described. The job of the rest of the industry and the people that buy from you is to adopt that technology. If they don't adopt that technology, that 60% of the cost of goods sold in the physical world, they don't get advantage of it, they will disappear. But if you don't create the solutions that matter to them, they will have no reason to try. So in Gujarat, there's this incredible synergy. The new world of tech plays into the physical world. The physical world is where we play and we know what's going on. If the startups and entrepreneurs can take the intelligence and expertise of manufacturers and others, put it together, all of a sudden you're going to create magic with the technology that we have today. So I want you all to go out and start building. And Microsoft will do our part. There's 3 things you can tap into. Just go to my Twitter handle at Meetul Patel. I'll send you a link that will show you how to get more information on this. We've got 3 things going for you. First is Microsoft Scale Up. That's a program we have to allow you to connect up with our global sales organization and capacity to access customers around the world. We take customers to, once a startup reaches the right stage and right phase, we help them access markets in India and across the world through that sales force. Microsoft Ventures M12 is a fund that we've actually introduced in the last few months that will invest in India. We'll make limited investments, but we'll be making investments in India for technology companies that have relevance here and globally. And then Microsoft Reactors, incubator spaces we have in Bangalore, for example, where we bring great tech companies together to spend time working with each other, getting and generating ideas with each other, and then kind of like creating better products for the rest of the world. So these 3 are the main sources of help that we have for startups and entrepreneurs in India itself right now. And so I'll wrap up by saying that one thing that makes Microsoft tick, that makes every one of us wake up every morning and take on the challenge of what we do, is our mission. And our mission is the one that says we want to empower every single organization and every person on the planet to do more. And the one thing we know is that if we want to achieve a mission like that, it's not a mission that we do by ourselves. We can only create the platforms and the technologies that thousands and millions of others take, and they actually create things with that. And then take that creation and bring it back into the rest of the world. So you all play an incredibly important part in our purpose. And to that end, I want to commit to you that we will help you in whatever way we can through the tech we create or the GTM motions we can drive to make you successful. Thank you, good luck. I'm waiting to see what you all create. Really, really excited to be here. Thanks.